Hi, everyone. Today I'll be discussing how to qualify for offshore tax exemption in Hong Kong. With the attractive tax policies, Hong Kong presents a great opportunity for businesses looking to optimize their tax liabilities. So today we're going to look at what it takes to navigate this process effectively. Before we do that, I just want to briefly introduce who we are. Woodburn Accountants and Advisors is one of China and Hong Kong's most trusted business setup and corporate administration advisory firms. We are headquartered in Hong Kong with our subsidiary in Shanghai. Our focus is on inbound investment to China and Hong Kong, which means that we work exclusively with foreign investors that are looking to enter these two jurisdictions. The main gist of our services is that we offer all types of corporate compliance and administration for the entities that we establish in Hong Kong and China. And these services range from everywhere between trademark registration, employer of record, to company incorporation, and all of the outsourcing administration functions that have to occur for those entities. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Christina Kohler-Colucci. I'm the head of business advisory at Woodburn Accountants and Advisors. I've been a leading expert on inbound investment to China, but have also dilly-daddled in Hong Kong as well. I have over 21 years of experience in the corporate services sector and have worked with over 750 international companies with their expansion growth in the region. If you're interested in connecting with me on WeChat, here is my WeChat ID. I've also provided our email, my email, and our website in case you'd like to learn more about us. So in order to get the ball rolling, today we're going to be providing you an overview of Hong Kong's offshore tax exemption regulations and why it's important to think about this. Ultimately, what people need to realize is that they can apply for offshore tax exemption. It is not automatic. However, if they are not granted the offshore tax exemption status, then ultimately there is profits tax in Hong Kong. It is 8.25% up to Hong Kong dollar 2 million in profit, and everything above that is at 16.5%, which quite frankly is still not bad. But if you are looking to apply for the offshore tax status, it's important to know what it actually means. The offshore tax status allows businesses to earn income without being subject to Hong Kong's corporate profit tax, which I said is at 8.25% or 16.5%. As long as the income is sourced from outside of Hong Kong and already taxed in another jurisdiction. This status can significantly impact a company's tax liabilities and profitability. To attain this status, a company must file an offshore tax claim with the Inland Revenue Department. This exemption is valid for a period of 3 to 5 years, making it essential for businesses to keep track of their eligibility status. So it's really important to understand what is the difference between an offshore company and offshore-sourced income. There is a common misconception, which is that only offshore companies incorporated in Hong Kong benefit from tax exemption. However, both offshore and onshore companies, i.e. those incorporated in Hong Kong, can qualify for tax exemption if they meet specific criteria. Offshore companies are these companies that conduct the majority of their business operations outside of Hong Kong, i.e. they don't have an entity in Hong Kong. And then you have offshore sourced income, which means you've incorporated a company in Hong Kong. And this encompasses income that is generated from activities that have occurred outside of Hong Kong, even if the company is located locally in Hong Kong. Hong Kong's territorial tax system enables both types of businesses to take advantage of the tax exemptions as long as they fulfill the regulatory requirements. Now, I have provided here a very short list of examples of offshore sourced income. So to clarify, these are just a few of the examples. I didn't provide you a full list of them, But it is really important to understand that these examples, as they really demonstrate the wide scope of potential income sources that can qualify for exemption. So, for example, international contracting, and these are profits from contracts that are executed abroad. Global trading, these are earnings from buying and selling goods that are outside of Hong Kong, i.e. the inventory doesn't set foot in Hong Kong. E-commerce, this is revenue from sales that are processed entirely outside of Hong Kong. International investments, these are dividends from foreign investments. And then obviously foreign real estate, which is profits from properties that are outside of Hong Kong. To bolster an offshore tax claim, precise documentation is critical. Key documents include company address, an organizational chart, the certificate of incorporation, the articles of association. If there are multiple shareholders in the Hong Kong company, then the shareholders agreement, as well as any business records, including contracts, financial statements, email correspondence, to basically demonstrate the offshore activities. The process to claim for offshore tax exemption involves several steps. First, you need to understand Hong Kong's tax system, right? You need to familiarize yourself with the IRD's guidelines on foreign-sourced income. Then there's an application. This application should be submitted alongside the first profits tax return due 18 months after incorporation. It's really important to realize what your fiscal year is going to be for your Hong Kong company. Realize that profits tax is declared once a year, usually 6 months after the end of your fiscal year. And the trigger is that you will receive a letter from the Inland Revenue Department that is sent to your registered office address that will trigger the whole process of filing your profits tax return, as well as submitting the application then for the offshore tax exemption. Now, throughout the application of the offshore tax exemption, you have to communicate promptly with the IRD, as timely responses can facilitate a smoother as well as faster claim process. If granted, the exemption remains valid for 3 to 5 years. Annual audits ensure ongoing compliance as well. Now, a big question might be, what if your application is rejected? Because ultimately, your law firm, your accountant, your tax consultant, your corporate service provider, they are actually just facilitating the communication with the IRD. So in cases where applications are rejected, it is really important to carefully review the IRD's feedback, address any concerns by either providing additional information or by providing clarifications to your business transactions, and then ultimately seeking the help of professionals, whether it's tax consultants, corporate service providers, corporate secretaries, that may enhance your chances of a favorable outcome based on the experience that they've had filing these types of tax offshore claims. Now, in conclusion, qualifying for offshore tax exemption in Hong Kong encompasses understanding the framework, meeting specific criteria, ensuring you have the necessary documentation. By preparing proactively and adhering to the compliance protocols and keeping abreast of deadlines, businesses can establish themselves advantageously within this favorable tax landscape. I hope that I've answered all of your questions. If you do have any comments or questions in regards to how to qualify for offshore tax exemption in Hong Kong, don't hesitate to reach out. On my profile page, there was my WeChat ID, so you can connect to me via WeChat or naturally email me at christina@woodburnglobal.com. Or alternatively, in the show notes, I'm also going to be providing you with a link to my diary so that you can book a call. Thank you all very much for your time. Take care and goodbye.